Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad. This is the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 149 on September 11th, 2019. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey everybody.
Jimmy Trammell.
Good evening, everyone.
And a pixelated but very real Michael Aston.
Hello, everybody.
Michael, that's a really cool Instagram filter you got there.
I like the bottom half. He's got that lower third.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. But other than Mike's lower third, how are you guys doing?
Well, let's not talk about anybody's lower third today. just saying, let's talk about what other things are going on today. Week one of school is over, so I'm so happy that I was able to make it today because things have been crazy.
Oh, you talk about crazy. I went to go do an overnight job in Des Moines, Iowa. Left Sunday night, got back last night.
Nice.
So.
You get paid mileage?
Oh, no.
No.
No mileage?
Yeah.
What's wrong with those people? You're using your car.
Well, I didn't drive. I was forced. Well, that was the thing that made it even worse. Other than the fact that we got stuck in Vikings football traffic, leaving downtown for 2 hours. The fact that I was in someone else's car that all he wanted to listen to was Z100 out of New York. And it's a 3.5 hour drive plus the 2 hours in downtown. I wanted to murder people. I there were several times on the road that I seriously contemplated just jumping out of the moving vehicle.
Well, Z100 out of New York, what is that station?
It's like top 100. And the worst part was we listened to the playlist wrap around 3 times, and he still wouldn't change it. It's just like,
it would have been pretty easy. Hey, dude, you can listen to that for, how about, let's give you 2 hours. I think that's plenty of time.
Did you offer your Spotify?
Yes.
How could he pass up Powerwolf?
I mean, know, really? Right? But, yeah.
Did you bring headphones? Because I would have brought headphones.
Yeah, but they were in the back in my bag.
I would have said, "Hey, I need to pull over really quick." No, seriously, just real quick. I got to pull over.
Yeah, he wasn't pulling over for nothing. We were already 2 hours behind schedule because. But I made it. I'm back. I'm looking forward to actually going to bed at a normal time tonight.
No, you are not allowed. You must stay up late and do weird things.
I've had like 4 hours of sleep in the last 3 days, so.
Yeah, so, okay, if you start hearing snoring, it's probably coming from Clyde's corner. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, talking about work travel, I will be flying to DC next week, so I will likely not make it to the show. Well, I mean, I land at 5 o'clock DC, so that's 6 o'clock from our show time. So I have 3 hours to get in and get set up. So we'll see how the internet in the hotel is, but
it's fair.
So I might be able to make it. Hopefully, I'll have to cut and run real quick though because I got to get up early for DC time. But
sure,
see how it goes. So
sounds good.
Excellent.
Hey guys,
that's what it's like to be Jimmy. Starting at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So we have news, guys.
Do we?
There's news?
Just a little bit. Really, it's actually not a lot of news, but some big things are going on in it.
Like what?
Ooh.
Prove
Why
it.
don't we start? Why don't we start with the story about YouTube TV and their new features are coming out? They are coming out with a new guide available to some users, and they're also beginning to set up a new autoplay feature. This is something that has been spotted by some Reddit users, and it's been getting some interesting response to people out there. I haven't had the chance to look at this yet, but I have to ask a question. Autoplay on YouTube TV. Is this kind of like the autoplay on YouTube itself, where I turn it off and then like a week or a month later, it automatically turns itself back on?
I hope not. See, and that was the thing. I when I read about that, I went, no, because it already wants to autoplay the next episode of
Right.
something, which I hate.
I know you do,
And
but most people
You
like.
can't turn it off,
Oh, there should be an option to turn it off.
but I read that this new autoplay, it's different, but you can turn it off at least.
So here's the thing. I love it. As long as it's intelligent, I get this in other solutions where it recommends the next show in the series. And I like that, especially when I'm binging a series, which I almost always am. And as long as it, so some solutions, it's like 2 seconds, and that's not enough time to get to your remote and like hit cancel because you got something going on, you're going to bed, you're leaving or something. So that's annoying. As long as there's enough time, but not too much time, so then you can actually take advantage of it. And as long as it plays the logical next thing, right? Like the next episode in a series, and then if the series is over, play something random. Netflix does this right now.
And I understand why people like autoplay next episode. The problem is I turn on the TV and fall asleep. When I wake up, the entire series is marked as watched.
Right.
I didn't watch any of it. What the hell channel was I on? I mean, what episode was I on? Now I got to go back. I got to do research to figure out, because it's YouTube TV is not easy to skip through the episode.
No.
It's very linear. It's like if you fall asleep to a cassette and then you go, oh crap, what track was I on? Then you got to go and kind of work your way back through there. Fast forwarding, nope. Okay, I can go further.
Well, and if for anybody that watches on a device other than your TV, then or maybe even a computer, right? This really makes sense as a big issue, right? Like I have had books that I'm listening to on Audible auto start for some reason, and because I always have the media volume all the way down on my phone, I don't even know it's playing, and I go to listen to it on my way home, and it's like 6 hours farther in the book. Or 8 hours farther, and I'm like, what the crap?
And it
what
takes
the
you
heck
like
is
20
happening?
minutes before you even realize that, and you're just super confused. Yeah.
Or if it's like Amazon Music, where I seriously almost threw my phone out of my car in front of my car so I could run it over because I couldn't get Amazon to stop turning itself on every time something happened. Like I would turn it off, I would like swipe away the app, and then like somebody would call. When the call ended, it would just start playing music again, usually at an unreasonably loud volume. So then I'd jump out of my skin, and I was just so mad at my phone today. So if they manage to overcome those types of issues, I'm all for it, but there are pitfalls, and they need to be aware of that.
Well, the good news, it looks like that there is a feature to turn off this autoplay inside the interface. So this one, it looks like you will be able to turn off inside of YouTube TV. So yay for that. As far as the new guide goes, I want to see it because the old guide was okay. It definitely could be improved, though. I actually like the web. If you use the web version, I actually like the web version, the old web version of the guide. But the version on the various streaming boxes definitely could have used an improvement. So
when I look at this guide, I'll just say what I see from the picture here is that as you select your video, it starts to show what's playing. So it's almost like a picture-in-picture type effect. I love that. I think that is super sweet. as long as you don't accidentally scroll over something that's super inappropriate while your kids are in the
Yeah.
room.
And I took this as when you first start the app, it'll just start playing whatever channel. So, which is reminiscent of like real TV, where you turn on
Right.
the
Yeah.
TV and it's on the channel, then you can bring up the guide and do your thing. And I mean, great, awesome. I do like the changes that they're making to the menu itself. I mean, they're not massive, but I mean, it's just slight gap increase between the lines, which
Mhm.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys pointed out or not, but and this is the way it works on Hulu as well. So when you bring up the guide there, I think whatever's live on the current channel you're watching is still playing. It's in the background, so you see how the menus are kind of transparent. So it's playing in the background there. That's very similar to the way the Hulu TV guide works as well. But that too is a cool feature. So if you want to, just swipe up or however you get to the guide on Hulu, you swipe up. Then the guide comes up, and then whatever you're watching is still on in the background, but you can see what else is out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
I
good stuff.
Now that my YouTube TV account, has once again logged in my hometown of Portland, I'll maybe check this later.
Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon?
The weird one.
Well, that's Oregon.
So, yeah, I'll hopefully I've got that. So
Very
cool. What else is going on?
So, if you remember last week, made an announcement about a whole bunch of new Amazon devices, and including new Amazon Fire TVs from Toshiba. Well, it looks like Toshiba is not only doing their Amazon TVs; they are also got a lineup of 2020 models that are using Android TV. These models will be coming out next year for in various different sizes of 4K and Dolby Atmos. But yeah, it looks like they were one of the first ones to support Android version 9, and so good job, Toshiba.
Yeah. So Toshiba is kind of like that slutty friend that you have.
Just-
Looks good. I mean, not like supermodel, but good enough, and gets around.
Goes up, yeah.
Not picky about who she hangs with. Yeah.
Boy, you just put Toshiba in a horrible light. I don't know if I could ever buy a horrible
That's not a bad
Toshiba
thing.
TV again.
Not a bad thing. I mean, Toshiba makes a decent product. They're typically reasonably priced. It's not your like top of the line,
Right.
whatever, but it's still better than your the like Hisense TCL bottom of the barrel stuff that's still good enough. It's got a little bit of a better reputation.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
good to see more Android TV options.
Yes, because there are far and few between.
Well,
So-
actually, I mean the two biggest makers both offer, because like Sony, that's
true.
they've been all in on Android TV since the beginning.
But it feels like the Sony ones are all way more expensive, and so I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
that's the thing is Sony puts it into their top of the line
right.
stuff, and then yeah, I'm always happy to see more players in the market. And,
Me too.
I don't like being bullied into a platform because of the brand. If I want a Toshiba TV,
Right. You
I
want your
don't-
choice.
I would like to be like, oh, here's two Toshiba TVs that are almost exactly the same, except one has Fire, one has Google. Then I get to make the choice.
Okay, here's a silly question. Would you like the third choice? One that's at Amazon Fire ones that's an Android TV and one that's just a stupid monitor.
Oh, I'd probably
like
go with
that
the
option?
monitor,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
but that's just me.
I don't blame you.
But I mean, there are TVs out there that were very reasonably priced, but I avoided it because, it's got a Fire TV in it. I don't want to deal with it. But whereas if it had a Roku, I would have been like, that's fine.
Yeah, because they're so simple. All right, well, so here's what probably is the biggest story of the week. We finally have additional information about Apple TV Plus. Apple had their giant conference about releasing many of their new products for the year, including iPhones and other devices. No Apple TV update, which we kind of suspected we would see. But we did find out that Apple TV Plus will be available starting November 1st with some shows, and it'll be $4.99 a month. Okay, without going any further, what do you think of that deal right there? You're going to have a couple. They're starting with a couple shows. They're going to be releasing 4 shows every month. It's $4.99 a month.
Yeah, so they're releasing a few shows, right, on the first, and then they're supposed to be adding a show every month thereafter. Right?
Shows every month, plural.
Or shows every month thereafter.
Since we are all people who very carefully read the tea leaves of Apple because we have to, because Apple doesn't really provide us very much information. They said shows, so plural.
Right. So and I'll hold a couple of comments I'll make for the next story that we're going to talk about. But I mean, it's less than what most people thought it was going to be. Most people thought it was going to be $10 a month. So $5.
Yeah, I was going to say, what happened to the $9.99, $99.99?
Yeah, that was the rumor. Was it was be $9.99, which at that price.
And there's more I'll comment, but I'm going to save it for the next because we got another
I was
story
going to
say
because everybody was talking, Apple TV is going to be more expensive than Netflix, and it was more expensive than Disney Plus, which was launching at the same time.
Well, the thing is that the one thing I'll say is it does make Netflix seem kind of expensive now, doesn't it?
But
so here's the thing. I don't agree with that. Here's the thing, right? $4.99 is cheap, but there's two things. First of all, realize I just bought Disney Plus for 3 years and paid well less than that for Disney Plus, which will have about 10 million times more content. And that's the other thing. This is astronomical compared to the quantity that you get in price.
Yep.
Okay,
I know the next story.
You're baiting me to make another comment, but I'm going to save it.
So why don't we roll that on over to
number 2? The Apple TV Plus is going to try to not be kind of the competition for Netflix or for the Disney Plus people. Think of it more like HBO.
See, I disagree with this story.
Really?
So let me summarize real quick.
Okay.
They don't want to be Netflix or Disney Plus. They want to be the channel that you subscribe to once a year to watch the one show that's actually good on the channel each year.
Maybe. I mean,
whatever that show is for you.
There will be that demographic, right? I mean, that's true with me with Showtime and HBO, right? But really, and here's the comments I wanted to make, right? So, I disagree with this article because they're saying, okay, they're trying to compete with HBO.
Well, it's speculation.
I don't.
It's not fact.
Well,
this is our.
But I disagree with the speculation, right? And the reason why, to me, what this is more in line with, this is more in line with Amazon, right? Amazon has Amazon Prime Video, not because they are great content providers, although they are, right? But it's more to get you into the ecosystem. That's what this is. And one thing that was also announced in the announcement yesterday is that if you buy an iPhone or a Mac or or any other Apple
iPad.
product, iPad,
Or an Apple TV.
also even a iPod too. If you buy that, it also qualifies. You get the Apple TV Plus free for a year.
Yeah. So this
So-
is a
So this is a play for people to stay in the ecosystem, much like what Amazon is with Amazon Prime Video.
So I kind of understand what you're saying, and it's especially true if they have, and if they somehow do not provide the way for you watching the Apple TV Plus service on something that's not an Apple device, because right now it's leaning that way.
Well,
You buy an
that's
Apple
why
device,
they
we'll give
got.
you 1 year free.
Well, that's why they got the Apple TV Plus coming to the TVs, right? It's also coming on the TVs as well. So if you get
That's
a TV
true.
that plays the Apple TV Plus app, then you don't necessarily have to have a Apple. I mean, now you have to pay $4.99 a month,
Right.
right, to subscribe to it. But it's free to the ecosystem.
Yes.
But you don't have to keep giving to the ecosystem. You can just pay. I mean, think about it in this way, right? So Apple is willing to give you a $60 a year service for free if you stay in their ecosystem.
If you keep buying iPhones.
If you keep buying iPhones or Macs or iPads or whatever, right?
Which is one reason
But-
I have never been tempted into the Apple ecosystem. Because the
Right.
goal is to trap you.
Well, all companies have that goal. Name a company that does not have that goal.
It's fair.
Every
But
company has the goal
Apple's really
of
good at it.
convincing you to utilize their ecosystem extensively. Apple's goal is to trap you in their ecosystem. At least that's my
Because they
perception.
say, hey,
So-
it's
Okay,
like,
so name one that does not have that goal.
I don't think most of the other services have the goal of trapping you. They have the goal of enticing you to stay, giving you enough stuff that incentivizes you and makes you want to stay. Whereas I think that the way
Roku.
that their closed ecosystem and limited availability of everything, tight control of everything, they are not trying to entice you to stay. They are trying to trap you in the system. Oh, I've spent $3,000 on a MacBook Pro. I have no choice but to use iCloud. I have no choice but to use Apple TV and get Apple Home and stuff like that. Now, it's not totally true, right? Like, I have an iPad.
I'm in the Apple
have a Mac-
ecosystem, and I subscribe to Netflix.
Right.
Am I trapped? Am I
that's what I'm
trapped?
saying. I have a MacBook Pro, right? I have this $3,000 computer, but I use the Amazon ecosystem. So I'm not saying you are definitively trapped, but a lot of people get into the Apple ecosystem and they feel like they have no options.
see, and what he's getting at is you look at, hey, come over here for iTunes, use the iPod. Well, you're already here. You should just get an iPhone. Don't look at the other stuff. Get this iPhone because it works with the account that you already set up with this. Oh, well, personal tablet thing. Yep. Nope. Don't worry about anything else. Just use this iPad, and that's the thing. It's like the Hotel California. It's like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave.
Oh, so it's like Windows. Look, we got this Office suite.
Well, Office you can get on anything.
Right.
You can get Office.
Office
on Mac.
is available on Mac.
Yeah, it's
right?
also available on
that's-
Linux, isn't it?
Sort of.
Or they did for a while.
No.
It's like Google's
don't
a
think
good
it-
example, right? Like I can take my Google account to my phone and to my Windows
Yeah,
desktop.
Google doesn't care. They're like,
I can take it to my iPhone as well. I am
Exactly.
also
Yeah.
a Google subscriber.
Yeah.
oh, and but
that's
you
Google.
wanted a company that doesn't try to trap you, and Drew pointed it out before I could get it out there. Roku's like, we don't care what you use, just we have
Use
this
our
thing.
service on
You
anything.
can use it.
Yeah.
You cannot use it. You can use any voice thing that you want with it. You're not like trapped with Siri or Echo or Google
Well,
Assistant. It's like
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's exactly an apples to apples comparison.
It's not a total apples to apples.
It's not,
I
but-
think you really are talking about like systems that do provide ecosystems like Google and Amazon and
Right.
Apple.
Well, and that's what the
it's just
that's
a play.
That's what the whole point of the ecosystem is, to keep you enticed and not stray away. And that's why I was saying Roku's one of those ones that it's not. They could, but they don't. They're like, we don't care. We'll actually let you use the other stuff to, with our thing.
Right. I mean, it's just a way to. I mean, in essence, what I'm saying is that, they're trying to make their ecosystem more valuable, right? Mm-hmm. Entice their customers to stay with them, of course, right? But, to give this service to you for free for a year just because you bought a product from them, I'd say that's not too bad a value. And even if you don't, even if you pay $5 a month, I think their shows are, the 3 shows I'm interested in is the morning show. And
go ahead.
Oh, no. You go.
I agree with you because that it is Apple's not the only people who are doing this by a long shot. And the best example to that I can give is Amazon, because they give you for free Prime Video when you get Prime service for streaming and things like that. This kind of stuff is everybody does a little bit of this, and that's true. Apple and Amazon both are a little bit more siloed than the others, or more like, if you go into our ecosystem, you kind of have to stay in our ecosystem, versus other ones like Roku, for example, is like, we don't care what platform you use, or Google, which is pretty open, not 100%, but still pretty open as their platform. So.
And that's why I kind of disagree with the premise of this article, right? Saying that they're trying to compete with HBO. Well, no, I don't think so. Yeah. I think they're more out of the playbook of Amazon than HBO.
Actually, I think in a way they are more competing with HBO, because they are trying to make that premium content that you want to watch.
There's that, and it's more about, we'll do less content at higher quality rather than Netflix. We want to just put as much out there as possible.
Okay, you'll find something you'll like.
I think that there's 2 really good points here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, from a production value perspective and what they're doing with their video, they are mirroring HBO's model, but they are doing it in a fashion similar to Amazon, which is, we'll make it free to entice you to stick around. I think that my point is simply that at $4.99, that's a decent price for good video content, but they don't have enough to really charge more yet. So here's my thing. Expect this price to go up over the next year or 2 as they add more content. Second of all, I don't think so. Expect it to continue to be free to people that buy hardware for Mac.
Yeah,
continue to be a free service for people that are buying and keeping up on current hardware.
So the right word is, HBO is more of a boutique experience, whereas Netflix is kind of your Burlington Coat Factory, or
big box
TJ Maxx.
Your buffet.
Yeah, it's your buffet. And which neither one is wrong. They're completely different, feel. But the thing, and when I see this price, the $4.99, when you compare it to something like HBO, I realize Showtime is way too expensive in comparison, because Showtime is like $8. And I know that because I wanted to continue watching Becoming a God in Central Florida, and YouTube's Summer of Showtime just ran out. So, or YouTube TV's free Showtime.
Yeah.
So I think comparison. I think that comparison is a little bit better, the HBO as opposed to
I get Mike's point on that, right? And I think that's fair. Yeah, they lower content, higher quality. Yeah, I can definitely see that, right?
And it can still work.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, it's interesting what they're doing. You know, I don't know. I mean, it will be interesting to see how it does evolve. I don't necessarily know if they're going to go up in price, right? Maybe they will, but I don't think it will. What I see them doing is maybe bundling in other things with it, like on iTunes they've had for a long time like these 99-cent rentals, where you can just rent movies for 99 cents, and maybe they pitch some of those kind of movies in there bundled in with this service to where you can say, okay, well, that's just included in with Apple Plus or something.
And that being said, I do all of my shopping at the outlets. I will take quantity over quality.
So go ahead.
I say the price will go up, and my reason for that is, when has Apple ever had the lowest price for anything?
Well, I mean,
That's a good
and
point.
even if it wasn't Apple, you see this, it's obviously an introductory price. This has got to get you in the door. I mean, same thing with Disney Plus's $6 whatever. Everybody has that come on over price. You can't beat it. And then I mean, Netflix used to be like $5 a month.
Okay. So related to this is I haven't watched any of the Apple trailers at all, but I did watch the event, and I did see that they had a trailer for the new show C.
Mhm.
Did anybody see that? Wait,
I did
how many
see it.
times can I say C about the show C?
Is that Jason Momoa?
That
It
Jason
is.
Momoa.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
So the idea behind C is that everybody on Earth, this is post-apocalyptic Earth, everybody has lost the ability to see. And so people believe it's like a curse from the gods or something, that they took away our vision or whatever. And so Jason Momoa's kids are the first in a generation or however long to actually get the ability to see. And so it has this scene in it near the end of basically a battle of these two armies getting ready to fight. They can't see each other, but they can hear each other, kind of thing. Interesting stuff. I don't know how interested I could be in such a weird weird premise.
When I
don't
saw
know.
that poster, my brain immediately went to, is this a play on the fact that he was Aquaman and Aquaman
I
lives
know.
in the sea?
So,
Well, they
here's
also
the
have for all mankind too. That's going to be an interesting show. I'm really
I
looking
saw
forward
that
to that
too.
one. Yeah, that's and for those that don't know what that is, what that is, it takes you back to the Cold War when we were having the space race. So back like maybe 1960s, and instead of this is alternative universe.
What if we didn't what if they got to the moon first?
Alternative reality. So what if the Soviet Union were the first to the moon rather than the United States? So that's what that is. I always kind of like that genre of shows, and so I'm looking forward to that
Well,
one as well.
as we all learned from the documentary Iron Sky, the Nazis made it to the moon first because they've been living there since 1942 or 46 or whenever they went up there. But
Be interesting if they tie that into the show, huh?
we should.
All right. Next story, Apple Music. You know, that awesome service that is cross-platform because you can get it on your Android device, is now going to be available for browsers. Hey, wait a second. Last week we just found out it was available on Chromecast, and they had finally just got that. And now they're just now allowing you to use a browser to
I
look
want to
at
know,
this.
how is this just now a thing?
Yeah.
Listening in your browser is like a day one kind of thing.
It's HTML, guys. It's not hard.
How long is let me ask, how long has Apple Music been around now? Like 5 years?
No, Apple Music or iTunes and Apple Music?
No. This incarnation.
At least 3 or 4, maybe
Okay.
5. I don't know.
So
It's
it
not-
took them
it's not
3
that-
or
it's
4
not
or
like
5
it-
years to figure
No,
out how
it's
to.
it's been
put
here
it
a
in a
couple of
browser.
years. It's been about 2 years.
yeah, I
Okay,
think
it took them 2 years
It came
to
out
figure out
since
how
we
to put it in
started
a
the
browser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry that That bothers me, guys. That's just not right. I've been using Shoutcast to stream stuff over the web from my own servers since the 90s, guys.
You
Come
know how
on.
long I've been listening to Spotify in a browser?
Since it came out?
Since it was available in the US.
Yeah.
So that
was it
would
not
have
in
been
the
like
US first?
2011.
There's no reasonable, like, there's no good excuse for not making it available. They obviously didn't feel like it would monetize, right? Like they wouldn't get value out of it early on. Now they're probably looking at, well, we've got everybody that we're going to get without offering this feature. Maybe there's some holdouts. Let's release this feature.
It speaks to the Apple design process. Not that they're bad designers; they actually are really excellent designers at making their programs. But it does ask the question of what priorities they put first. And obviously, they did not put a priority to this.
So did they make this also make the statement that they're the first people to bring music to browsers?
No. But the thing is, I mean, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense, right? Because Apple is a hardware company; they're not a browser company.
But you could access iTunes in your browser.
Well, I think
yes, but the thing is they're going to make the local client first, is what they're going to be, being a hardware company as they are. Bringing it to the browser is that's for somebody who is not a hardware company. Spotify is not a hardware company.
Say that Apple isn't a hardware company; they're a design company, right? Like,
yes, but you can say okay, but the thing is, their main source of revenue is from sale of their hardware, not their design.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think the reality is they're a design company, and that is actually probably what is driving their choice to not worry about this, right? They're user-centric design. They talk to their users. Their users focus on things like my iPhone, my iPad, my other device, right? So they're talking to people, and they're probably getting a lot of feedback that says, I use it on my iPhone 98% of the time. I use it on my car, streaming from my iPhone. So I think what it boils down to is they're following a user-centric design approach, a mobile-first approach, and while it's not hard to make the web app, what was the point? That was not a priority to them because that's not what their customers were asking.
Yeah, they're not making money off providing it on a web browser, right? They make money by making an awesome client on a device.
That said, it's easy enough to have one guy work on it, and he could have done it by himself in way under 2 years.
I won't argue against that. I'm just saying I understand they've put their focus on where they make their money.
Yeah,
that's very true. That we do. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of people putting their money where their mouth is, Panasonic they came out with a bunch of new displays at IFA last week, and a lot of them were your brand new giant 4K displays, probably some 8K displays in there of different kinds, and they showcased a new display that uses two LCD screens in order to provide extremely high contrast LCD displays. But here's the thing. I feel like we've had this story recently. Didn't we hear something a lot like this from, was it TCL and their high-end displays? This is the technology which basically uses one display to basically only allow a certain amount of brightness through the first LCD, and then the second LCD to provide the color layering, which allows you to get really excellent black levels. And this sounds very familiar to that TCL story. Maybe TCL did this and Panasonic came in and bought the technology, or I forgot my tinfoil hat again. Shoot.
I mean, they could have been, this is the kind of thing where they could have been working in cooperation. Who knows? I don't know what to make of this. I assume we'll be able to see this at the Panasonic booth in January.
This is interesting, though. I mean, it's an interesting story here.
And also, that screen looks very thick. I have a feeling that, one of the benefits of an OLED screen is that it is so thin. and it's
Yeah.
flexible, and blah blah blah. And I get that you can probably come close to the fidelity, but at what cost? Are we going back to super thick bezels and
I mean, that's a fair
mean-
point, Clyde. Not to mention the power consumption would probably be a lot
And,
higher,
I mean,
right?
the
Yeah,
problem
well-
with LCD and the thing, and I'll cede the floor in a second, but the other thing is LCDs require backlighting, and most of the time it's edge lit, and I absolutely hate that. The beauty of OLED is that they create their own, those organic LEDs create their own light, which is
Right.
why they can be so thin.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things here, right? Like, remember, this is a fixed demo. This is not a retail ready product
No,
Right.
prototype. So
Right.
it is not going to be as fancy and nice. It may be that it's thicker for cooling and whatever, or they slapped it in a case to ship it. But so I expect it will get thinner and it will look better, maybe a thinner bezel and stuff. The other thing is it won't be like double the power, right? Because it's using that second LCD panel to augment contrast and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
far less of it will be utilized than the full picture array.
Sure.
So it will be a small increase in power. And LED TVs are ultra power efficient already. So,
Right.
I mean, relative to
Well, this
plasmas
isn't-
of previous generations
Yeah.
and stuff.
yeah,
So,
but I mean, and I wasn't going off the picture as far as I'm just speculating based on my knowledge of how LCD TVs work.
Mhm.
And there is a thickness to the screen. You've just doubled that. How much
Right.
distance does there need to be between them? They're both going to need lighting, so that adds bezel.
Plus
Actually,
two,
according
plus two. Think of the CPU that it would take to drive both those layers, right?
I mean, the CPU, if you've torn one of those TVs apart, that board is only about this big. They probably just put two of them in there.
at worst,
Okay.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
integrated.
Alright.
But
Yeah.
good.
So-
I think that's the one part where it's just like, meh.
And it's interesting that, like, really this is still utilizing the LED functionality, right, for the backlit. So this is probably going to be like a high-end full matrix type LED system, so you won't have backlit bright lights on the sides and dimmer in the middle like you had with the old LCD TVs.
But
It's going to be evenly lit, high contrast. I think I'm excited. Any kind of innovation in TVs.
Oh no, I'm interested to see it. I'm just thinking rationally and logistically. I don't know how, it will be. I mean, better.
And just to add what Clyde said, yeah. Oh, I realize that they can mount two CPUs in there for each one, but the thing is, think about all the software that has to be written to make those work well with each other, right? So there's a lot. I guess the point I'm trying to make is a lot of technology that's going to go into this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see what they do.
I'm just excited to see what they do when they do a dual OLED. version.
Why would they do that? There's no reason to do dual OLED.
Because then you get better resolution than OLED.
No, that's not how
Two-
that works.
Well, you put two 4Ks, and that makes 8K, right?
If you
No.
can I just put some duct tape on my two 4Ks and then I have an 8K TV?
There you go. Hey, there you go.
This is how they take. So this is how they do it at the factory. They take a 4K TV, they take another 4K TV, they take them apart, they layer them together, put a little tape around the edges,
And then they put a
and then
Sony sticker on the side that says Cletus,
No,
held together with tape.
but okay. So the article also says that they didn't like the name of what they gave for this, which the name for this is MegaCon for mega contrast. I don't know. I
think
like
it's
the
a
name
mega
MegaCon.
con. I don't
MegaCon
think
is
it's
awesome.
it's a legitimate thing. They're just going to trick everybody and then be like, everybody pays their money and then Panasonic goes out of business.
No. It sounds like a Transformer name. It's awesome.
It's really a big Ponzi scheme.
You are being destroyed by
Well, I mean, it is like one, like one letter off, right? Like it's Megatron, Megacon. It's like switch the C for a TR.
Megatron was last seen in Seattle, but
But yeah,
Awesome.
so
Well, that
fun,
is our stories for the week, guys.
well, I guess then we should probably do the thing that we do.
we're done, right?
Yep,
Call it a night.
that's it. I mean, there's not anything other to do. I mean, we can thank some people that support us.
Yeah, that's good.
Because they're awesome, and they see some value in this ridiculous thing that we do every week that we've been doing for 3 years now.
That's because there is value. It's just not very much.
Well, I was saying they see the value.
Exactly. There is
I
value.
can't say the same thing for anybody else, but they see the value and they have decided to support us. And if you happen to have the same similar lapse in judgment and feel the need to support this lofty endeavor,
Lofty.
that's patreon.com/the VOD Squad.
We greatly appreciate you.
Thanks everybody that supports us every month. You know what else probably isn't worth, or on a side note, we can. There's something that probably isn't even worth doing, but there's one last winter or summer movie draft.
One last one. This is the last
draft
one?
update.
Okay.
I
Let's
can't
do it.
talk.
Did we shoot up to number one?
You
Yeah,
wanna
let's find out. Yeah, let's find out.
Hey
Did we win?
Jay, what you got?
Welcome to Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of September 9th, 2019. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay, brought to you by Bacteria. It's the only culture some people have. Let's go to the scoreboard. Team Game Night's in last place with $211.8 million. Team The VOD Squad's in 5th place with $535.9 million. Team Average Drink is in 4th place with $775.7 million. Team Drunk Edge Gaming is in 3rd place with $1,012.9 million. Team Retro Misery's in 2nd place with $1,034.4 million. And with $104.5 million from It Chapter 2 in 1st place, it's Team Movie Party with $1,363.7 million. That's your final Stream Team Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of September 11th, 2019.
Well, I will say thank you, everybody.
Congratulations, Clyde.
And we still have like 2.5 weeks left.
You're not going to hit 1.5 billion. I'm sorry.
Well, no. All I need is another 150. I have got another. It's
Sorry,
still possible.
Clyde. That's not looking promising. You
Actually,
did like
I went and saw it. I went and saw it on Saturday.
Yeah. What
I
you
dug
think?
yeah.
Hey, man.
That's why it
you're
didn't do so well.
1.3 now, man. That's probably a record that'll never be.
It totally is. But I wanna see how close I get. Like I said, I have a feeling I'm gonna get close. I may not hit it, but there's still the chance that I could. So
Well,
You'd
the rule
have to
has-
keep at like over 60%. You have to have less than a 40% decline each week to pull it off. So it's not likely to happen unless this just happens to be one of those rare movies that do better once people tell each other that it's going to do good. Not likely, considering this is part 2 of a 2-part show, right? Like most people already knew that it was either going to be good or bad.
But the thing is, I will say it's not like a sequel. It's the continuation and the final part of the story. And
Right.
I will say, for a lot of the people that said, "Oh, well, I liked it for the kids," the second part has a lot of the kids stuff in it too. A lot of the pieces that they left out in the previous. They some choice story points that they saved for this to like fill it in. nicely fill in those puzzle pieces. So if you like the first one, definitely, I don't know why you wouldn't see the rest of it. That's like reading the first 5 chapters of a 10-chapter book and go, hey, I really like that. And then I'm not going to finish it. I don't care how it ends.
So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I've only known one person that, other than you, Clyde, that went and saw chapter 1, and he said, it was okay. I'm not going to see this one because it wasn't good enough to spend money on it in the theater. So, I don't know how many people are like that are excited to watch it or interested to watch it, but not willing to spend $10 to $50, depending on whether you're going by yourself and doing nothing or going with your spouse or girlfriend or significant other and buying popcorn and sharing it, because that's $50.
So Al-Anon points out that chapter 2 is good. It could have been better, but it's still good, and I agree with that. And he mentioned that there's a rumored director's cut that splices the two halves together. It'll be like a 10-hour movie.
Yeah.
Although during the
jeez.
movie, I saw a trailer that for something that had it and chapter 1 and chapter 2 not been as good as they were, I never even would have given this a second thought. But they had a trailer for Dr. Sleep. Do you guys know what Dr. Sleep is?
Nope.
The Sandman.
No, it's the sequel to The Shining. When Danny's all grown up. The book came out about 10 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And it looks good. And it looks like it has footage, like a flashback footage from the original movie.
So it has Jack Nicholson in it.
I would expect it. In the trailer, you saw him on his 3-wheeler running into the twins in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. Sleep came out 6 years ago.
So two things. I'm still interested in watching what happens between the race for second place. Ritual Misery is currently in second place. Drunk Kids Gaming is still raking in a couple like $10 million a week.
Could take second.
With the Lion King, it is possible, if Lion King can sustain, that they could end up being in second place by the end of the draft here, technically. So I'm really happy to watch that. I think that's an interesting thing. And the second thing is, our draft is a copy of the what I would call the Diamond Club Prime draft, and they are having their draft in a couple of weeks. I heard today that they're officially having it on September 23rd. I think.
And I've got news.
Ooh.
They said that all participants in the main league for the winter have been contacted and have confirmed. I was not contacted, which means I will be around to fight with you guys. Again, we're not moving up this year. I keep getting robbed.
I'm curious if we should have our draft before they have theirs, so we can be a preview of what the draft could be for them.
But we'll have to know the slate and get it together.
And we'll know by then.
Everybody needs to pester W. Scottish One to start getting things together now, so it's not a mad dash scramble at the very end. And we talked about it before. I am a big fan of the idea of doing 2 leagues, and then you go your A and B, let's say the bottom 3 from A at the end of the season go over to B, and the top 3 go over. That way you constantly
there's always churn.
There's churn. It'll be different.
Unfortunately, eventually the equilibrium will put the teams that don't do well always on one side and the teams that do well on the other side. That does make it fair, but also it means that you have people who are like, oh, we're in the bad side.
But no, you'll have people that you'll have teams going back and forth regardless.
That's fair.
Because
it might work.
Yeah.
If we have enough people that want to do this, I think having multiple leagues makes
there was a bunch of people last time that were like, "Hey, why can't we participate?" And
well, I think we should possibly make a website saying if you're interested in participating, have some real serious.
If only we knew someone that knew how to design that kind of stuff.
I don't know.
We should go into the business of like movie fantasy. And then you can start your own league, just like Yahoo or Flea Flicker or ESPN. Yeah. So,
all right. Well, I'm looking forward to our next run. I can't wait to see the new list of movies for the winter break.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Rants and raves. What we got? What's bugging you? What you excited about? Nothing?
I can talk about something. I was browsing around on Hulu the other night and found that the last Sharknado movie is on Hulu. So if
wait, you mean the last one, like the most recent one, or the last one they're ever going to make?
Well, that's what they call it, the last Sharknado movie.
It is.
Right? So it's the most recent one, right? So I think it's the 7th one in the series or something like that. But anyway, if you're interested in that series, right, I am mildly interested in this. But I was excited to see that, oh, hey, I could watch it right there. So so if you subscribe to Hulu, then yeah, go and check it out.
All right.
Oh, hello everybody.
Hello.
I am back.
Oh, did you go?
I disappeared. I'm so sorry. Apparently, I got disconnected for a second there. So Sharknado 7, the last Sharknado movie, which means
Yes.
I'm expecting Sharknado 8. Ha! Fooled you once. Come on.
Well, no, because it will always be. Hey, remember the last Sharknado?
The next
We've
one,
got another one.
the next movie will be the last Sharknado as well.
Right.
It's just they're all going to be named
This
the last
one's more
Sharknado.
last than the last.
Yeah, the more last movie.
The
last
Sharknado 2.
The last Sharknado.
Yes.
So for me, I have been so busy with various things that I have not had a chance to do anything fun. I have been doing work and homework and sleep and food, and I think that's in my entire life this past week. I cannot wait for the chance this weekend to sit down and do something boring like watch television or something else, because unfortunately I have been as soon as I'm done here, I got more stuff to do. So
Yeah, I mean, if you're bored watching television, you should really watch the new Bill Burr special on Netflix. Last week I talked about they had a Colin Quinn and a Dave Chappelle comedy special that they dropped, and then this week they dropped Bill Burr, and it is awesome. I love Bill Burr.
very cool.
And it was at the Royal Albert Hall in London, which is even funnier. Angry Bill Burr yelling at Brits. So it was great. Check it out.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
All right.
I finished Madam Secretary. I can't recommend it this season. It was a little overly political and in your face about the politics, and it was still a good show, but I just was a little annoyed a lot of episodes. It was like too politicized. It's like, yeah, okay, it's about a show about politics, but I don't need you to infuse your political points of view into it.
Get you beaten over the head with politics. Yeah, I've watched seasons of bits of that, and it seems like they did a good job. Being on both sides of being in the today politics, but at the same time being, hey, this is fictional, so it's not that
Right.
it's nothing that real. So
This
you're
year-
saying this last time it's they just went ahead and went straight into what's currently going on and feels icky.
Yeah, almost every episode this last season was really, really saying, hey, this is what they're actually, what the White House is doing, or this is what the politicians here are doing, and this is why it's so bad. And it was just like, I get enough of this on Twitter and news and everywhere else.
If I want to be beaten over the head by somebody's personal view of politics, I would watch the news.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it was still well done. I still like the actors and actresses and stuff, but there's another season, one more season of it. I probably won't end up watching it. Maybe I'll give it an episode.
So there is another season. Okay.
There's one more season, final season.
All right. I don't know. That seems like a pretty good thing to rant or rave about.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and wrap this thing up. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I just want to remind everybody that this Saturday is the September movie party. We will be watching the 1990s classic, Street Wars. Just to give you the ground level, if you've ever watched Boys in the Hood and thought to yourself, what this movie really needs is ultralight aircraft, then I have the movie for you. It's called Street Wars. Jamal Fanaka's Street Wars. The second movie is still being decided, but yes. 10 p.m. Central on Saturday. You can go to at DC Movie Party for information, or movieparty.net. Other than that, if you're not going to join us for Movie Party on Saturday, you should at least join us here next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central on Twitch, as we are every week. We do this live so that people can participate and add titles, which they are going to vote on now. Head on over to tvs.showbot.tv, put in those votes, and stick around for the post show. And I think that wraps it up. Thanks,
Later.
everybody. Awesome.
Bye.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.